One of the great automotive mysteries of our time is the 383 mystery motor. Now, if you've been following along with this build over on Uncle Tony's channel, you've seen where we disassembled the block live, freed it up, got it spinning, took the pistons out, did a bottom end inspection, all that kind of stuff. But what you didn't see any work on is the cylinder heads. Well, that's because I got them, and that's what we're going to do today. And if you notice by appearance, a 383 cylinder head looks a lot like a small block Chevy cylinder head. I mean, port layout, these are more square. Chamber layout, intake runner alignment, stuff like that. Even the top minus the shaft rockers, it pretty much looks like a copy of a small block Chevy. So these should be pretty easy. You can see they're kind of greasy, grimy gopher guts right now. We're gonna break them down, which means we just, take all the valves out, all the springs off. Real easy, we'll show you how to do that. Then we're gonna go through them, clean them up real good, degreaser, oven cleaner, all that kind of stuff. Probably do a light port job, clean up some of the casting, clean up the valves, make them nice and shiny, clean up the chambers, relap all the valves, and reassemble. So, here we go, guys. Our mystery motor 383 cylinder head inspection and rebuild on a budget. All right, and for those that have never seen this operation, there may be a few of you, it's pretty simple. This is a valve spring compressor. The foot goes on the valve. There's a little cup right here that goes on the spring. And with this lever, it compresses the spring enough to remove the valve keepers. Now the valve keepers, you see they have that little groove in them. I don't know how well that's showing up. Those little grooves right there, they correspond to some grooves, the female groove in the valve, and that releases the keeper. And then when you release your valve spring compressor tool, your spring falls right off. All right. Your retainer, which sits on top of the valve like so. And then we can see that someone has been in here recently, because these are umbrella style valve seals. The factory ones are the little disc with the spring on it, but that's good because I like using these. You can actually get a little bit more valve lift using these. Now, a few of these valves are a little tight, and just a little tap, and again, that doesn't hurt it because that happens to this valve all day long while it's in the engine. You get it past that little valve seal, and voila, your valve comes out. These are really super crusty from water damage, but I suspect, and you can kind of see it here, see this ring that's kind of semi-shiny? It's, better than the rust, this outside ring here. That's what seals the valve. What did I do with the valve? There it is. That's what seals the valve on that bevel of the valve right there. Can you see the bevel in the valve? See that? Those two surfaces come together to form a mechanical seal to keep compression in and then close again and let, in this case, intake air and fuel come into the engine. But these actually, this corresponds to everything we've been told about this motor, that it's set for a long time, but before it's set, it had very little mileage on it. Besides the rust, this all looks pretty clean in here. There's very little, like, casting flack. I could feel a little button right there, but we can clean it up when we're done. But these will be, I got a real good feeling these heads will clean up really, really nice. These valves will clean up nice. You can see there's very little carbon on them. But let me do that 15 more times, and we'll get back to you and show you what that all looks like when they're all taken apart. And fun fact, you can always tell the difference between the intake and the exhaust valve keepers. See, the exhaust valve keepers have 3 ridges. Intakes have 2. So it's impossible to mess them up. And again, these go to the corresponding reliefs in the valve. This intake has 2, the exhaust is going to have 3. Okay, we have both cylinder heads stripped down. This one wasn't too bad, just 2 exhaust valves that needed to be beaten out, so it's no big deal. We have plenty of stock replacement exhaust valve springs. But one of the issues, I don't know if you can see that, yeah, right about there, all these valve guides have been knurled in the past. So, and that's why probably a couple of the exhaust valves were a little tight. All the intakes came out no problem. But you can catch the light there, there you go. So these have been previously worked, and again, not too long ago, so far as runtime, but they were just sitting for decades. So, and again, this one's about the same condition, but a lot of rust. Where these ports were open to the world for 10 or 15 years. But that'll all clean up with a drum sander on a Dremel. The chambers themselves really aren't bad. Just really gross and dirty. A lot of rust again in the exhaust, but we can clean all that up with just sandpaper roll. And this one has of course, the exhaust crossover port. And now that they're all broke down, we can go ahead and we can clean these things up. We'll get some degreaser on them, pressure wash them, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll come back and hit them with the, the wire wheel and all the sanding for the ports and stuff like that. They're gonna look nice. Let me get them cleaned. And we got some degreaser. The foaming kind and the aerosol kind. Just gonna hit these real quick. Let them soak and let them spray off. And then, yeah, they look pretty good for just a quick spray down, let them soak for about 10 minutes, spray them off. Pretty good. Let me flip them around and do the other side. And I'd call it successful. Again, yeah, there's still some scale and some things on them. Some rust and stuff like that, but that'll come right off of the wire wheel. But so far as clean and degreased, I mean, pretty good. Looking real good, though. Handleable. I'm not going to get all greasy on my hands. So let me get these back on the bench. We'll wrap this up for today. All right, guys, we have our cylinder heads disassembled and cleaned. And then what's left is kind of the dirty work. Get in here with the wire wheel and clean up some of these chambers. See, some of this goo it's just goo from when it was sitting out in the weather. A lot of that just scrapes right off, but we'll go ahead and wire wheel all these inside the chambers. Get them both clean, take our sanding drums, get inside each of the ports, clean up any casting slag, which there was very minimal on these heads. Like I said, someone's been in here before, did a nice little job. And then we'll make the call, get some new exhaust valves, which won't be that big a deal because we have plenty of stock, new old stock in a box, exhaust valves for big block Mopars. The next video, we'll go ahead and show you all that cleaning and port work and touching up and finalizing all this stuff, lapping the valves and reassembly. But for now, I got a lot of work to do. Questions, comments, concerns, put them all down below. Appreciate each and every one of you. Do all the stuff you're supposed to do. Look at the merch. And we'll get back to you when we finish the heads. All right, thanks.